Good morning. All right, so if you're not already at your practice space, go ahead and bring yourself over to your mat and bring yourself into a comfortable seat. I like starting this way because it's a great way to kind of check in with your body. Sometimes it feels comfortable to sit on the floor, other times it doesn't. And that can tell you lots of things about your body on a given day. So take a moment to settle into your spot, whether you're sitting on the floor or sitting up on a cushion or a block. Just kind of land into your spot. Allow your eyes to close. Begin to notice how you feel today. And as you allow your next few breaths to be just a little bit deeper, let yourself fully land into the space that you find yourself in. Whether you're in the same place where you always practice or whether it's a new space today. Feeling the breath flow in through the nose, creating expansion and space around the chest, the ribs, the belly. And feeling the breath flow back up and out through the nose. All right, guide your palms together in front of your heart. Interlace your fingers. Press your palms forward and up. Begin to reach up through one hand up through the other side, left and right a few times, gently tugging on your fingers a little bit as you lengthen up each arm, each side of the body, down to the low back. All right, release the hands to rest on the floor. And then walk your right hand out, leaning into it. We'll take the left hand to the left shoulder and just start to circle a couple of times in each direction. Really checking in with your shoulder. So sometimes even something like this we can do in a really passive way and not even notice what we feel. But imagine that your elbow, your left elbow, is reaching as much as it can, kind of tugging on the shoulder a little bit as you're circling. And really notice what sensation arises because of that. And change directions if you haven't already. All right, then we'll bring that left arm up alongside the head. Reaching with your left hand, squeeze and release the fingers a few times, as well as rotate through the wrist a few times each way. All right, and then breathe in, lifting up. Breathing out, release that left hand down. All right, walk it out a little bit. Lean into the left hand, right shoulder, and start to circle. Again, allow that circle to be nice and big so that you feel a sense of opening across the shoulder, the chest, maybe up into the neck as well. Mm. All right, change directions. All right, and then take the right arm up alongside the head. Reaching with the right hand, squeeze and release the fingers, as well as rotate through the wrist a few times each way. All right, and then inhale, lift up. And exhale, release your arm. All right, so we'll shift onto hands and knees. And so as you bring yourself to hands and knees, just start with your hands under your shoulders, knees under hips. And then as you breathe in, let the belly drop. Lift your head and your tailbone. And then as you exhale, tuck your tail, round your back, chin to chest. And just move in this way a few more times. Each time you inhale, open the front of the body. Each time you exhale, feel into the back of the body. All right, one more breath like that. All right, then take your hips back toward your feet as we come into child's pose. You can take your knees close together or separate your knees a little bit. Sometimes it's a little more comfortable to rest forward with the knees apart. You can rest your head on the floor or a block if you have one. Maybe you stack your fists one on top of the other and rest your forehead on your stacked fists as an alternative to a block if you don't have one. Take a moment to land into this forward fold with your knees bent. Couple of breaths, feeling the back rise and fall. All right, now the next time that you breathe in, pull yourself up onto hands and knees. And then as you breathe out, come all the way forward and down onto the front of your body. And then once you get there, just walk your arms forward so that your elbows are underneath your shoulders and gently press down into your forearms. Lifting your heart, reach it forward. And then begin to gently turn your head side to side. And checking in with the neck. All right, and then reach your chin forward and slightly up to the extent that's comfortable. And chin toward the chest. Again, chin forward and slightly up. And toward the chest. And then one more like that. All right, bring your head back to neutral, your heart down to the floor. Press back up onto hands and knees. And so as we come back to hands and knees, this time we'll take our knees close together and then lift the left knee up and out to the side. Pause a moment. Engage your left foot as though you were kicking something with your left foot. And with your leg lifted high, start to connect with your outer left hip. So once that starts to fatigue just a little bit, then start to rotate through your hip. So left knee draws that circle in space. All right, and then change directions. Same leg, opposite way. All right, with your next inhale, reach your left leg back. Exhale, pull the left knee into the chest and round the back. Again, inhale, left leg back. Exhale, knee into the chest. One more like that. Inhale back. And exhale, knee into the chest. All right, lift your left leg back up and out to the side. And this time, straighten your left leg and drop the foot to the floor. Walk the hands in, lifting up. And then we'll take the left hand to rest on the left leg and sweep the right arm up and alongside the head. And sensing into the right side of the body. All right, take one more breath. And then lifting up, release your right arm, step your left foot forward into a short lunge. So front knee over the ankle and right hip over the knee roughly. We'll take our hands behind the back and interlace the fingers. And just notice for you which thumb you've placed on top. That's kind of the habitual way of crossing. We'll do the opposite way on the other side. So just notice for you which thumb is on top. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Open up across the chest. All right, now we'll scoot the knuckles over to the left side of your waist. Now, if they don't quite go all the way over to hook, you could just grab your wrist and kind of guide the arms slightly over in that way. All right, so knuckles over to the left. Drop your head to the left as you start to feel into the right side of your neck. And then take the head a little bit forward and back. Again, a little bit forward and back. All right, bring your head up to center. Release the hands to the floor and step forward into a forward fold. Take your feet around hip distance apart, maybe a little bend in your knees so that your thighs can be a little platform or support for your torso. If it's comfortable to straighten the legs, of course, that's fine to do, but start with a little bend in your knees to see if your low back wants support today. Your hands might come to the floor, to your elbows, to your ankles, or some other place, but allow your head to hang heavy, your face and jaw to relax. Deep breath in and out. And walk your hands up the fronts of your legs. Rise to stand, sweep your arms out and up, join your palms above your head, and then exhale your hands down to your heart. Take your feet to hip distance if they're not already, and then as you inhale, push your hips back. Float your arms forward as you find chair pose. We'll do this a couple of times. Exhale, rise back up, push into your heels, reach your arms back in space. You get a little stretch across the shoulders. A couple more times. Inhale, hips back, arms up. Exhale, press through your heels, reach the arms back in space, open across the chest. And one more, breathing in. This time, breathing out, fold forward, step back into downward dog. So hips up into the air. Fingers spread wide. Engage your fingers into the mat. All right, then release down to your knees. All right, take the knees close together. This time it's right knee up and out to the side. Pause there with your right leg lifted. Engage your right foot as though you were kicking back with your right foot. When you start to feel your outer right hip engage a little bit, maybe fatigue a little bit, then start to rotate. A couple of times in one direction. And then a couple of times the opposite way. All right, so the next time you inhale, reach your right leg back. Exhale, right knee into the chest. Again, inhale, right leg back. Exhale, knee into the chest. And one more inhale back. And exhale, knee into the chest. All right, lift that right leg back up and out to the side, and then just step your right foot out to the side. And then walk your hands in, lifting up. So right leg is directly out from the hip. Right hand rests on the right leg, and then sweep your left arm up alongside your head. All right, then as you inhale, lift up. And exhale, release your left arm. Take the hands behind the back. Take your non-habitual thumb on top. So other thumb goes on top. If you don't remember which one you did, just cross your fingers and then do it the opposite way. It should be the way that feels a bit weird. All right, and then scoot the knuckles over towards the right side of the waist so that you're essentially anchoring your left shoulder down, and drop your head to the right. So we're finding that stretch on the left side of the neck. And with the head dropped to the right, take the head slightly forward and slightly back. Looking a little forward and back. All right, bring the head up to center And release the arms, step the right foot forward, hands to the floor, and then step your left foot forward, coming back into your forward fold. Again, your knees might be bent, your legs might be straight, depending on your flexibility and comfort in this position. But if you have any low back discomfort when you're folding forward, it's really nice to bend the knees and give the torso a shelf to lay on via your thighs. Couple breaths. And with your next inhale, walk your hands up your legs. Keep rising all the way up. Sweep the arms out and up. Join the palms above the head. And exhale your hands to your heart. All right, once again, finding your chair pose. As we inhale, hips go back, arms float up. As we exhale, press through the heels, rise up, reach the arms back, open up across the chest. Twice more. Inhale, hips back, arms up. And exhale, rise, reach back. All right, one more, breathing in. This time, exhale, fold over your legs, step back, downward dog. And again, as you're coming into downward facing dog, fingers are spread nice and wide apart. Really use your whole hand, or each of your whole hands, to support the weight of the body. Sometimes in this posture, we kind of dump all the weight in the base of the hand, but really use all your fingers. Spread them wide, press them down. All right, from here, release down to your knees. Knees come back together. This time, as we take the left leg back in space, we'll take the ball of the left foot down to the floor. So just kind of tucked left toes. And then start to lean left. Actually, no, I'm messing this up. Left toes are tucked, drop the left heel to the right, and then lean right. I was about to invent a new pose. Left arm going up into the air. All right, so there's a couple of options that you can do here. You can keep that left foot down if this is already providing enough of a balancing challenge. You could also lift your left leg up into space, maybe about the same height as your torso. You could bend that left knee and catch your foot with your left hand. Now, if you are grabbing your foot, I would encourage you to kind of pull the heel toward the hip and then roll the left shoulder back. So you're not only getting a nice opening across the front of your left hip, but across the left shoulder as well. And again, whichever version you're in, we'll take 3 more breaths. All right, if your left foot is lifted, go ahead and take it back down to the floor. And then we'll all take the left hand to the floor. Lift the left leg back up. So now it's the same height as the torso, but the toes are pointed down. Then we'll take the right arm forward. So again, that's left leg and right arm lifted. And then take your right arm out to the side. And bring your right hand to your low back, maybe mid back. See where the hand can go. Keep that left leg lifted and strong. And then right arm back out to the side. And forward. And then down to the floor. Now cross your left leg over the right leg so your toes are dropping toward the floor on the right. And then curve your spine to the right. So you're peeking back at that left foot. Sensing all the way up the left side of the body. You might even turn those left fingers out to the side to ease the pressure on your left wrist. All right, bring the torso back to neutral. Step your left foot forward to your left hand. Come into a longer lunge this time, so scoot your right knee back a little bit. Right hand can stay down on the floor. Maybe it's your palm on the floor. Maybe you come up onto a fist if you need a little less pressure on your wrist. Or if you have a block, you could put a block underneath your right hand. Left hand comes to left thigh as we begin to gently twist. Take 3 rounds of breath. All right, then after your third breath, come back to hands and knees. Tuck your toes under and lift up to downward dog. Again, spread the fingers nice and wide apart. You might even notice greater or more aware connection with your shoulders as you spread your fingers as well. All right, deep breath in, rock forward into plank pose. So taking shoulders over the wrists, reaching back through the feet, draw the navel in, and exhale back to downward dog. All right, release down to your knees. Knees back together. This time we'll reach the right leg back in space, tuck the toes, drop the right heel over to the left, lean left, and then take the right arm up. And then as before, you have some options here. You can stay right here with your right foot down. You could lift the right leg up. You could bend that right knee, catch your foot with your right hand. And if you are grabbing your foot, kind of roll that right shoulder back and draw your right heel toward your hip. And whichever version you're in, take 3 breaths. All right, if your right foot is lifted, go ahead and take that right foot back down to the floor. And then we'll all take the right hand to the floor. Square off the hips, lift the right leg back up so that now the toes are pointed down, and then take your left arm forward. All right, take that left arm out to the side. And then left hand towards the low back, maybe the mid back. So you're internally rotating your shoulder here. Keep that lifted leg strong. Sometimes it wants to check out. And then take your left arm back out to the side and forward. And then down to the floor. Cross your right leg over your left leg, drop the toes, curve the spine to the left. Peeking back at the right foot, sensing all the way up the right side of the body. And you might turn those right fingers out to the side to ease pressure on your wrist. All right, so as your torso comes to neutral, step your right foot forward to your right hand. Widen the lunge by scooting that left knee back just a little bit. Right hand on the floor, maybe as a palm, maybe as a fist, or a hand on a block if you have a block. Right hand to right thigh as you start to gently twist to the right. All right, take one more round of breath. And then gently release back to hands and knees. From here, one more time, we'll sit back towards our feet into child's pose. So again, your knees might be together. You might take them a little bit apart as you fold over your thighs. Head might rest on the floor, your hands, a block, whatever you might have for support, maybe a cushion. All right, 2 more breaths. All right, bring yourself back up onto hands and knees, and then come all the way down onto your back. And as you come onto your back, draw your knees into your chest. Give them a gentle squeeze, a little rock side to side. All right, let your knees drop over to the left. Then take your right arm back over to the right. Let your head gently sway a few times from side to side. See where your head wants to land in terms of comfort. Really just allow yourself to melt into the floor here. So, if either your knees don't stay together or this right shoulder is a decent bit off the floor and you want some support, you can put a block or a blanket or pillow underneath your right arm or maybe between your legs. You could also put it under your knees. Sometimes it's nice to have support to rest into. All right, we'll take another 3 breaths. All right, after your third breath, ease your legs back to center, maybe one leg at a time. As the feet find the floor, gently sway your knees a bit from side to side. And then we'll cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Bring your legs in toward your chest, reaching through for the left leg. Now, if grabbing the left leg isn't comfortable, you could also just grab that right foot and focus mostly on drawing the right leg in toward your chest. Because it's really this right outer hip that we're trying to stretch in this particular pose. So if both legs coming in is too much, just grab the right foot or the whole leg. One hand on a foot, one hand on your knee. All right, and then 3 big breaths. And then after your third breath, let your legs straighten up toward the ceiling. Inner ankles touching, if comfortable. If not, separate the legs. All right, and then we'll interlace our fingers and take our hands behind the head, elbows out wide, but head and elbows resting on the floor. All right, as you inhale, start to lower your legs towards the floor. Reach through your feet as though your legs could get longer and longer and longer the more that you reach them out. Whenever you need to stop in terms of the amount of challenge you experience, exhale and then pull your legs back up. Now, if keeping the legs straight is not possible, just bend your knees when you need to. But work at a level that's challenging for you. Inhale as you lower, and exhale as you lift. Smoothing out the movement. One more time. Breathing in and breathing out. All right, feet come to the floor. Sway the knees side to side. All right, release your hands from behind your head. Take your knees back into your chest. This time, both knees drop over to the right side. And take your left arm over to the left. Coming into a comfortable twist for your body. Again, if this left arm doesn't quite touch the floor and you have a pillow and you want a little support, put that underneath. Gently sway the head. See where the head and neck want to rest. And just let yourself melt into the floor, into support. All right, one more round of breath. And then ease your legs back to center. Again, maybe it's one leg at a time. Gently sway your feet or your knees side to side. All right, and then cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Bring the legs into the chest, reaching through for that right leg. Again, if reaching all the way through to your right leg is not comfortable, you could just hold your left leg, maybe one hand on your knee, one hand on your foot, and just draw them in that way because it's really this left hip that we're trying to stretch in this pose. Or you could just hold on to your foot. Maybe the knee goes out a little bit and you find an angle that works for you. All right, 3 breaths. All right, after your 3rd breath, let both legs straighten up toward the ceiling. Legs together or slightly apart, depending on comfort. Interlace the fingers, hands behind the head and elbows resting on the floor. 3 more of these. As we inhale, lower the legs. Stop at whatever point you need to stop. And then as you exhale, pull your legs back up. Twice more. Inhale as you lower. Exhale as you lift. And last one, breathing in. And breathing out. All right, release your feet to the floor. Step them wide. And sway the knees side to side. All right, let your knees drop in toward each other so feet stay kind of wide apart. Release your hands from behind your head. Let them come to rest on your belly. And then just come into relative stillness here. So if knees dropped in together is not comfortable for you, you can straighten your legs or take feet together, knees apart. Just take a leg position that is comfortable for you as you guide your attention back inside the body. Noticing how you feel now after a little over 30 minutes of movement. And now, if as you're practicing, you have more time, you can stay in this reclined position for another 5 or 10 minutes. If your day is a little bit busier and there's other things you need to get to, still take your time and gradually, in your own time, roll to one side. And take a breath or two on your side. And then when you feel ready, press yourself up. Back into a seated position. And then we'll guide our palms together in front of the heart. As we bow to the light within ourselves, we also bow to the light within each other. Thank you for practicing with me today. I aim to do these most Wednesdays at about 9 o'clock. Sometimes it's only 2 or 3 times a month or even once a month on occasion, but most Wednesdays, 9 o'clock. See you again next time. Bye-bye.